Cathead Reynolds signing in. Uh, glory to the goddess. Glory to Sophia, to Mary, to Babalon, to all things that are the feminine half of deity. You see in pagan religions, most gods have a goddess associated with them. There's a consort relationship. This got split apart in Christianity due to drought, probably from human activity all the way back in the Holocene. And the mindset of patriarchy, war, dominion was a survival tactic. Let's jump right into the Bible, huh? Okay. First, I'm going to read from Proverbs 8. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way, before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning, wherever the earth was. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no fountains, abounding with water. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills was I brought forth. While as yet he has not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest parts of the dust of the world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth. When he established the clouds above. When he strengthened the fountain of the deep. When he gave to the sea his decree that the waters should not pass his commandment. When he appointed the foundations of the earth. Then I was by him, as one brought up with him, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing, always before him, rejoicing in the habitable part of his earth, and my delights were the sons of men. Now therefore hearken unto me, O ye children, for blessed are they that keep my ways. Hear instruction, and be wise, and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth, watching daily at my gates, watching at the posts of my doors. For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death. So this is the Sophia talking through Proverbs, and sounds a little bit like Jesus, huh? But the point is she was always there. And you see this in Gnostic texts, you know, all the things that were taken out of the Bible. There was a sense that not only was Sophia there, but maybe the creation was her idea. God was sort of a lonely beam of light in the universe, and there was no matter, and there was no free will. And his heart, or his feminine aspect, or his consort, said, why not create existence and see what happens? And then you also see in these Gnostic texts that the Sophia, the wisdom, will always be the way we return back to heaven or whatever eventually. This has been so squashed, and I don't need to go more into a long history about patriarchy. Just right now I want to help us access that feminine that's been drowned out. You know, there's a lot of conflicting parts in the Bible as to the virgin birth. This is probably because it was probably used to conflate Jesus with Horus, and also Attis. But the point being, there were lots of virgin births in the pagan world, and this was just a way to claim somebody of divinity. That there was a scandal around this birth seems pretty prevalent, and may even have been a Roman soldier or whatever. But I'm not of that persuasion. Personally, I believe that, and if you go with the Eastern Orthodox Church, what do they call it? Sorry, I don't remember. But there's a sense that the Holy Spirit chose Joseph and Mary to be together. That maybe Mary was not interested at first. Um, well, what's the point? What's it matter? It matters a lot. It matters because if you take a still virgin woman who doesn't really want any of this, and this just happens to her because God told her you will have the Son of God and all this stuff, then it takes the whole human element out of it. In the same way, when Jesus told people not to stone other people, he said, "For ye are God's children of the Most High, not I am God, children of the Most High." So he was saying, "You're gods. Why are you killing each other? This is horrible." You know. So here, I'll read you one of the in Matthew 1:16 we have Jacob begot Joseph, and Joseph, to whom the Virgin Mary was betrothed, begot Jesus. So, and virgin in Hebrew did not necessarily mean virgin. It could have meant that she was young. Also, the same word for old, postmenopausal. But and there's even arguments in there about the Bible about that. But point being is if you take this out of it and you take, okay, here was a person born of true love in a time where either this woman had planned on being alone the rest of her life, or there's a sense that maybe he was married before and that James, etc., were from this. But that this was sort of something you could imagine in modern day, love happening in sort of a troubling situation. And then this person goes around telling everybody about how they should love each other. This actually makes a lot more sense than the Annunciation. It's a shocking thing at the time. Why marry for love? And then we go into, Jesus had a consort, which was Mary Magdalene, who was not a whore. She was a person who was married before. And also, scandal and him choosing true love in a strange way. These stories are much more profound. If you don't believe that Jesus married Mary Magdalene, there's plenty of evidence that he did. Let me first, maybe people don't know about the Gospel of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas was found in the Nag Hammadi Library. So was Thunder Perfect Mind. And these texts seem to fulfill not only what Dee and Kelly were saying, but occultists for a long time and Gnostics, that the feminine was just as much of value as the masculine, especially in alchemical work and Kabbalistic work. But let me read you this. Okay. Simon Peter said to him, "Let Mary leave us, for women are not worthy of life." Jesus said, "I myself lead her in order to make her male, so that she too may become a living spirit, resembling you males. For every woman who will make herself male will enter the kingdom of heaven." So, for the time, he's whatever he means by male. But he's communicating to them with the language he has. You actually see this a little bit in the Book of the Law near the end. I will make her a hadith kind of thing. But women have souls, same as men, and this has all been drowned out due to patriarchy, and it's all recoverable. We can get this back. I knew a woman from the Eastern Orthodox Church. They have Mary Magdalene churches. She's a saint. There's a house in Greece that is known to be the house of Mary Magdalene, and that's where she went after Jesus died, and she taught. She was, she was considered the foremost of the prophets, of the apostles to Jesus. So I guess we come to Dee and Kelly at some point there, and Dee and Kelly were doing the work with the angels and encountered Babalon, and we have Daughter of Fortitude and all that, and we're asked to wife swap. And I really think, I even heard at some point, I'm putting a lot together here for you, but that marriage was a human idea and the angels were against this. And I think that this is that humans are very cognitive. We're very reason-orientated, and finding true love is like really challenging for us. Marriage is not necessarily some free ticket to that. So when Dee and Kelly were talking to the angels, and the angels said, you should wife swap, and there's a goddess named Babalon, and they were scared and discontinued the working. I think they just weren't ready for it. And then I think this is sort of continued. Then we, but if you want to know if what they received kind of made sense, then listen to Thunder Perfect Mind. This is Mary Sophia Babalon talking again. Okay. For I am the first and the last. I am the honored one and the scorned one. I am the whore and the holy one. I am the wife and the virgin. I am the mother and the daughter. I am the members of my mother. I am the barren one, and many are her sons. So she contains all paradox, and it goes on, and you really should read it, Thunder Perfect Mind. The point being is that somehow the sacred feminine has to be able to cover all that's missed, like how Amen did in Egyptian, the mysterious one. She's all that is buried in Christianity. She's, it's as if, imagine you're trying to have a religion, and there's certain aspects of your religion that feel like they just won't work right now. Life is too violent, too scary. How can you trust women's opinion with life? And so this has all been buried more and more and more. And, even Crowley, who really introduced Babalon back to the world, leaves her as a potential. You get to the end of the Book of the Law, and it's the next aeon. We're in the aeon of Horus now. It's still time for the masculine, hawk-headed god to come back and destroy all the meekness of Christianity, which has made a passive-aggressive victim paradox that Nietzsche talks about. And I see his point, but when? When will we get our goddess? Well, Jack Parsons didn't seem to think he wanted to wait, so he did the Babalon working and told you how, with 3-inch copper disc and all this. Marjorie Cameron, who was the incarnation of Babalon, the goddess, in fairly recent times, showed up at his house, and him and L. Ron Hubbard slept with her for like 2 weeks, and they gave up the working too, L. Ron Hubbard stole his boat and founded Scientology, and Jack Parsons invented rockets and blew himself up, and Marjorie Cameron was in the Kenneth Anger films, Pleasure Dome. And maybe she was able to embody this and bring this back into the world. But part of my point with the working is it seems like they started, and neither one of them married her or anything, Crowley had several mistresses, and some of them had been married in the past, and he called them his Babylons. But this sort of, it's what I'm saying here is the Babylon working might be a way of finding true love, of breaking, well, maybe in my gnosis, that's what it is, of breaking down the structures of what you should do to find this woman, and maybe get past your ideas of who she should be. Maybe she's the honored and the scorned one. I did the Babalon working under tutelage of some Thelemites, had some help, and I ended up falling in love with a married woman. And let me say, as a man, it is an ego crusher to move in with a woman who's married to somebody else and can sleep with him whenever she wants and can sleep with you whenever she wants. And the amount of wisdom imparted to you in this as a male is a lot. it just sort of pours over you. Eventually he left, and now it's just me and her. We've been together coming up on 3 years now, I think, me and Lola. And I've learned more about myself and life and love than I ever could have expected. Why does Babylon have the grail full of abominations and the blood of the saints? It's mentioned in Answer to Job, that maybe Mary and Babylon are the same person. The point seeming to be that she's able to contain the things that we're afraid to face, and the beauty that we've lost. It's all sort of smushed together, and we have to acquire it back. Belief matters. If you just strip down, if you say, I do want to go over this. If you say I'm not a Christian anymore, I'm a pagan, right? And you don't face some of your archetypes that are underneath that, you're going to find yourself, even if you make up a new god, or you etc., or adopt a new one, you're going to conflate your old Yad-He, Vav-He associations with this, which will probably more be Zeus, Odin, and even Odin had Freya, right? Who did Zeus have? Anyway, turned into a swan and raped someone. But the point being is that there needs to be a complement, the masculine and the feminine, to come together to sort of get a whole picture of deity. Deity is not, if God was a man, then why is 50% of the population women? Why are there flowers? And not just, I don't know, bees. Even bees are matriarchal, right? I mean, to try to strip half of reality out and call it one thing is a form of insanity. And I personally believe humanity is in a form of psychosis right now. We're in a sort of a self-induced nightmare hypnosis. That's part of what I like about Gurdjieff, that he addresses that. But I really suggest to everyone to be able to embrace the sacred feminine, and I don't know what to leave you with here. I guess for me, doing Babalon working in a practical sense, in a Kabbalistic sense, if I don't include Binah, if I don't include Saturn, um, then when I'm drawing my energies down the Kabbalah, uh, then I'm not facing that there is restriction in life, that you need wisdom. Uh, uh, the first fiery primal urge of the will is sort of beautiful, but it can never keep up with manifestation. There's some sort of difference between I want to save the world and I'm blank and I live here in this country and this is the socio-economic situation. uh, and we don't get me wrong, we have to throw out limitations and become greater than we are, but there's just a real wisdom. Maybe this wisdom is how you're going to have to interact with people emotionally to accomplish this. Everybody has their own agendas. How will you take your first will, which is probably inherently good, but then incorporate it into existence? And you'll need wisdom to do this. To land on your feet. You know, by the time you draw those energies all the way down to Malhuth, you need some sort of wisdom about what that means. And I don't think this can really be done without the goddess. It might be too complex to get into now, but you would keep falling off kilter. You wouldn't get the universe card. You might get the moon card sometimes, or the Aeon card. But I guess what I really want to talk about is leave you with is that if you don't confront these things directly, if you don't say, I could worship the feminine aspect of God, that I could worship the Sophia, I could worship the goddess, and accept that she could be both the honored and the scorned one. That she can encompass both. I mean, doesn't Jesus get to? You know, he's persecuted. She's persecuted for different reasons that we still can't get over today. It's been more than 2,000 years, you know. But to accept some of the harder qualities of life, you know, be more non-binary. If you want to talk about mindfulness, you know, if you want enlightenment, you have to accept pain, that pain is part of the physical body. You can't get rid of it. You're going to experience pain in your life. Life is not good over evil. There's not, you know, we have to be more fully encompassed in who we are to be able to access who we are and take all that energy and drive and take it somewhere, take it together. If you're always cutting parts of yourself off saying, well, that's like this and this is like that, that's why there's so much deep-rooted work about paradox with Babalon. I'm grateful for the goddess in my life. I try to embrace more of the feminine, and I'll just leave you with that. I hope this video helps anybody. Hail Babalon, hail Sophia, and may humanity re-embrace this wisdom so we can keep evolving. Over and out.